It's Dr. Patricia. How are you? And I'm going live inside the Woman Helping Women's Entrepreneur Facebook group. And my goal is to go live here every Friday at 12:30 if I can get the slot and if I'm in town, to help you women learn more about your bodies and what you can do about your health in order to improve everything from your skin and hair and maintaining your ideal weight to getting so much energy, to the point where you have like so much energy you can do all of the things that you wish you could do now and you don't have the energy for. So it might be like doing more in your business, spending more time with your family, more energy for fun, all of those things, and perhaps no limits. It is possible. Okay. And today we're going to talk about cortisol, the hormone cortisol. And just as a background, and if you come on and you're watching me, please put your name and where you're calling in from so I can say hi. It's way more fun for me if I can say hi to you. Okay. And if you have any questions, that's a benefit of joining live. You get to ask me questions. Okay. And I get to answer them for you. So as by way of background and my credentials, I'm Dr. Patricia Mills. I'm a Western trained medical doctor. I specialized in physical medicine and rehabilitation. I am also a researcher, so I am well versed in how to read and interpret research studies and how to find them, which is a very important skill when it comes to achieving whole health. Especially because what I learned over time as a researcher was that there was a lot of research out there that was not being taught in medical school, but it was extremely relevant to our health. And I don't know why it's not getting filtered down into medical school. It's probably just a lack of time and just overwhelming amounts of information. Unless you become interested in it in the way I did for my own personal health reasons and that of my family members, it really gives you the energy to dive deep into that kind of research. So I did. And I got really interested in the intersection between ancient wisdom and cutting edge science. It's like amazing. And also hormones. Hormones are really, really crucial for our bodies, and women especially are extremely hormonally sensitive. We have a lot of hormonal glands by virtue of us being like the creators, right? Having children, but not only that, but having that kind of divine feminine aspect of bringing creativity into the world. And I find that as our hormones become unregulated, if you're trying to get pregnant, that can be very difficult to do. Infertility is on the rise. If you're into menopause, that can be an extremely uncomfortable experience if your hormones are imbalanced. And the thing is, hormones are messengers in the body. They are responsible for every single function in your body, with few exceptions, are dictated by hormones. The exceptions are the direct connections of the nervous systems with the tissues of the body. Okay, and then they don't use hormones for that. They use the nerves for communication. So the body is like, if you were to equate it with a company, the body is like a business, right? That has many moving parts, and every single part is important, some more than others. But if you were to have a job, like a task done by an employee, and that employee starts to slack off or not slack off, the body never slacks off, starts to be overworked or receiving the wrong communications. Like even like the person who's responsible for taking using the fax machine, if they're told something wrong, like if they get the wrong communication, they're going to start faxing out all these wrong messages, and then the whole body starts to suffer, right? So hormones are extremely crucial because they are the methods of communication in our body, and hormones go from brain to body, gut to brain, tissue to tissue. It's like this whole chemical network that's going on, and it's really quite incredible. And today I had a member of the Woman Helping Women Entrepreneurs group ask me to speak specifically on cortisol. So I think it's Margie or Margie. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but this is especially for you, and I suspect that a lot of women are having this issue, so I think this is very pertinent. So cortisol is a hormone that is our stress hormone, and not in a bad way. It's not good or bad stress. It's like a hormone naturally rises in the morning. Okay, so it naturally goes up in the morning, and it's called the awakening response, so that you can see that cortisol rise and fall. If I were to take your like saliva or blood work, I would see the cortisol go up in the morning, and that's so you can get out of bed, deal with the day. And then as the day goes on, cortisol goes down, and it has to go down because melatonin, which is the hormone of sleep, starts to go up. So you can see this and that. Okay, melatonin starts to go up. And if you don't have appropriate melatonin production, you don't sleep well. And melatonin is like our anti-cancer agent. And if you have too much cortisol production, it basically blocks the production of other hormones. So how does that happen? So too much cortisol. The issue with too much cortisol is that you basically have what's called a hypercortisol state that develops in the body. So let's say you're someone who's like trying to run a business, and you have like family members that are having hard times, and you're helping them, or you have children, or you have aging parents, or you have sicknesses that you have to deal with personally or with other people, and then you have the bills you have to pay. Like all of these things in today's modern society, they start building up, right? It starts to get more and more stressful. And what will happen is, what I've seen happen, and I've happened in myself, is that your mind almost disconnects from the body. So the body has to deal with the stress somehow. And so it's the way it does that is it starts to increase its cortisol production, because if it didn't, you would just collapse and faint and like, get dizzy and faint, because your body would just not be able to cope with the stress. So your body's pumping out more cortisol, and your mind is coping with it by saying, it's okay, this is okay, everything's fine. And you just keep doing and doing and doing. And now you develop this state, let's say over days or months or years. Everybody has a different tipping point where you now develop what's called a hypercortisol state. Like your body is awash in cortisol. And you're not even aware of it, except that your body will give you signs of this. Like you will start to experience problems with like dry skin, dry hair, dry lips. You'll feel jittery and anxious. You won't be able to fall asleep easily. And if you do, you'll wake up and not be able to go back to sleep easily. You can get constipated or diarrhea, depends on your constitution. And if you were to keep doing that over time, your body would let you know by developing conditions like diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So hypercortisol states have been associated with type 2 diabetes, hypertension, heart attacks, strokes, Alzheimer's, dementia, right? All of those things. So very important for us to be able to avoid a hypercortisol state, okay? And the interesting thing is that all of our hormones are interconnected, right? So one speaks to the other, and so as an example, the cortisol hormone, which is released by our adrenal glands, which sits just on top of our kidneys, they're like two little kind of kidney-shaped organs. They pump out cortisol in response to physical or emotional stress, okay? And that includes like heavy, hard workouts. So people who work out heavy and hard all the time, over time, can enter into a hypercortisol state. And how do you know that? So hypercortisol states will lead to inflammation in the body, and one of the body's response to inflammation is to put on weight. And the pattern associated with hypercortisol state waking is particularly around the midsection, around the belly. So I see some women who go like super hard all the time. Oh, my light just went off here. 1 second. They go super hard all the time on their workouts, and it doesn't even matter what time of the day it is. Let me just turn this back on. There we go. Like they'll work out hard, even if they're in their menstruating phase, let's say, which is typically for a woman a very low energetic time, because your hormones are basically have declined to their lowest. And that's the time to like rest, recover, repair. And if you're not menstruating, it's usually around the new moon. We pulse with the moon. That's like the tides, and we are bodies of water. So we pulse our hormones with the moon. And so if you are, for example, working out hard, you go to do your power yoga or your spinning class or your CrossFit, and you do it like Tuesday and Thursday every single week of the month, what will happen is when you run into doing that over your menstrual phase, you will feel depleted. There will be a depletion that happens. your cortisol state will worsen. And if you have that over time, that will lead to disease. In Ayurveda, which is an amazing ancient wisdom medical system, they speak to that being an imbalance that arises from not respecting the moon cycles, okay? And things like Alzheimer's can come out of that, okay? So it's very interesting because Alzheimer's is on the rise, especially for women, right? And they don't quite understand why, but it's probably related to some extent our hormones. Okay, so hypercortisol states now I've explained to you, they arise from essentially not having stress coping mechanisms and being out of alignment with the laws of nature. So the laws of nature is that we have daily fluctuations in our energy, monthly fluctuations in our energy, yearly cycles like spring, fall, winter. There's these cycles. Other laws of nature are when the sun sets, we should not be exposed to blue light. That's a physical stress on the body. We should not be sitting all the time or most of the day. That's a physical stress on the body. We should be moving in some way, right? Walking is like probably the best exercise there is, just movement. And then, and then processed foods, for example, processed foods don't even obey the laws of nature. They were made in a laboratory, not in nature, and they provide a very physical stress on the body. And you can get cortisol released just from eating the wrong foods for your body. So that's how you can do it. So what do you do about it? Well, Ayurveda medicine speaks to having routines that are in alignment with the laws of nature. Okay, so developing a routine where you break your fast around 8 o'clock, you eat your meals around noon, you have a snack around 3 to 4, you eat dinner around 6, and then you don't eat after that, because eating after a certain time of day is a stress on the body. The body was not meant to be digesting at nighttime. Okay, so people who eat really late into the night, that's a physical stress on the body, that's a cortisol release. Okay. And then taking a very honest look at your life and saying, I'm a busy person. Like I have a lot of things going on. Like it's very expected to my body to be stressed out by this, right? It's not a badge of honor to be busy and to keep working until you drop from burnout. No one's going to hand a badge of honor to you and say, hey, you worked your butt off and now you've got burnout. Like, congratulations, right? So recognizing that you need to prevent the burnout by being more intentional with your days. And for every yang, like in traditional Chinese medicine, we speak about the yin and the yang. Working hard is very yang, right? It's very masculine, dominant energy, very sun, high energy. And yin is the more feminine energy, the more moon, the more, chill and relaxation and being in the flow. So for when you have a lot of time in your day that's very yang, very work oriented, you should balance that with something that's very yin. So if you have a very heavy work day, instead of doing like a power yoga or a spin class, you might want to ground yourself with like a hatha yoga or Pilates or breathwork or meditation or a walk outside, like forest bathing, walking in nature. And I know that's not our typical approach to health. Our approach to health is, I've got to go outside and work really hard because I've been working hard at home. But what you're doing is you've raised your cortisol with working hard at home, and then you're raising your cortisol with your hard workouts. You have to live your life for hormonal balance. And interestingly, although you might say, well, I want to lose weight, I should be working out hard, to be like, well, you could actually gain weight, as I mentioned before, from being in a hypercortisol state. Will you lose weight initially? Yes, but will you gain weight over the long term? Probably, right? So that's really, really important is exercising and eating for hormonal health. Okay. Things that I do, for example, I wake up every morning and I set aside some time for breathwork and meditation. And for me, it's a way to decrease my awakening cortisol response. I've been through burnout and I had to heal myself from it. And it's terrible because you feel like a failure, like you can't do the things that everybody else is doing. But really what's happened is your body's just like shut itself down because it's like it's hormonally depleted and it's completely imbalanced. So I invite you to not get to that point, and if you do, to reverse it. And the way I had to do it was I wake up and I do some meditation and breath work, and I look forward to that time in the morning. It's like so invigorating. And then I do my work, and then I always go for like a walk around the block at least before breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just to reset my brain with the light in the sky. It's a circadian rhythm kind of medicine. The sunlight regulates our hormones when it hits the back of our eye, which is part of the brain. So that's my, like, and I don't listen to a podcast, and I don't call anybody. I'm just literally walking and like looking around, and I don't live in nature. It's just in the city, but I still enjoy just breathing and walking and very gentle. And then, yes, I do my exercise in the afternoon, and I pay attention to what is my energy like, and am I menstruating or not? So I'll dial it down or bring it up depending on what my exercise is, what my energy and menstruation is. And then I will do some, like, I'll schedule into the week like a sauna or a massage, like something I can look forward to that I know will just relax. And if I have, like, for example, like a really stressful call with a client, let's say, or like even doing these presentations, I enjoy them, but they're physically stressful, you know, you're talking and you're thinking. Then I'll go and do like a gentle stretch and a gentle kind of yoga routine and just a few minutes of breath work before I jump into the very next thing. If I can do that, I will prioritize that. And then at nighttime, I have a night routine. And listen, I've got 2 young kids at home, age 6 and 3. So I'm doing this with kids. It's possible if you prioritize it. And you have to prioritize it, because if you burn out, they suffer. So if you think you're taking time away from them by doing your thing, you're actually giving time to them, giving your quality time to them, right? So at nighttime, I just, you know, the lights go dim when the sun sets. We have salt lamps all over the place, which is like a nice amber kind of glow, very soothing. Put gentle music on and put the kids to bed. And then I will either like do a foot soak with magnesium or a bath. That's maybe once a week. And then I'll put on some music and read a book or journal a little bit. And I'll light a candle and do it by candlelight if I can. I'll put some lavender drops on my wrists just to smell that kind of soothing scent. And that's my routine. And so, it really works, and it's actually quite simple, but the key is I make time for it, and I schedule it in as my routine. And I notice when I don't do it, I really miss it. So it's a good kind of missing, and it's one based on hormonal. Sometimes we get addicted to the hard workouts because there's an immediate dopamine and endorphin rush, or we get addicted to the hard work and then hard workouts because it's like, again, you get that dopamine and natural endorphin rush. However, it's good in the short term, but bad in the long term. And so that's why you want to really look at your day or your week and balance it out with the yin and the yang of your activities. Okay, so now I'm going to let you know a little bit about how you can continue to learn with me in more depth for free outside of this platform. I have my own private Facebook group for women called Wild Wisdom for Women with Dr. Patricia Mills. If I show up every day with a post. I do lives on Wednesdays. I offer workshops and courses. It's super fun. We have a lot of fun. The girls in there, the women in there, we have every age from like very young to, beyond retirement. And there's such, amazing interaction there. The women get to know each other. It's very positive. It's like a very positive place on Facebook to go, which is really great, similar to this Facebook group. And it's just sharing of knowledge and wisdom and tips and tricks to kind of keep the body regulated, keep your health online or to recover it. And this is my service to society. I really enjoy doing it. So if you like what I have to teach and the style that I have to teach it, and you want to be in this energy, join that Facebook group. And when you join, you'll see in the announcements a free ebook on how to naturally rebalance your hormones that I wrote. And if you click on it, you get to download it, and that'll be my gift to you. All right. So if you like this, please put in the comments. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for you. And I hope you're having a wonderful day, evening, or night. And I will see you next week. Bye. Oh, and I did not see any comments, and I don't know if it's something to do with the way I'm going live. So I apologize if you put comments in and I didn't see it. I will be sure to answer them when I log off and take a look. Okay, bye.